Hey everyone, it has been a while since I've done one of these logs, so I figured I would just come on and chat with you. I've jotted some things down and we'll try to discuss them in an organized manner. Let's start off with books. So I finished at the beginning of the year the book called Undrowned, Black Feminist Lessons from Marine Animals by Alexis, Pauline, Gumbs. And this was a book that both Laura at Aquamarine 18 and Allison from Tech Coven, they have discussed this book a few times on their channels, and it seemed like a wonderful and moving and important book. And so I read it and couldn't agree more with their impressions. So it's a book, and it's not very long. It's like maybe a little over 100 pages, but it's this like exploration, discussion of marine animals, various types of marine animals, and the lessons that we can learn by observing them, understanding them, and use that as guidance towards social change in our own lives. So it was, given that it was a short book, I mistakenly thought that I could just breeze through it. I was like, oh, this is going to take me no time to read. And that was completely false. You have to take it in very slow. It's a slow drink, and you have to really just take the time to absorb. And it was very powerful. I had to, just pace myself because it had me feeling all sorts of emotions. But it's one that I highly recommend, highly recommend. And I thank Laura and Allison for bringing that to light. I don't think I would have learned about it if it weren't for them. So another book that I reread, a storybook called Hair Love, by Academy Award-winning creator Matthew A. Cherry, illustrated by Vashti Harrison. And this is based on the animated short titled Hair Love as well. And it's just such a wonderful story about family and hair. And it's just really, it's really adorable. And the illustrations are great. And, you follow this daughter and her father as he tries to help her style her hair in anticipation of her mother's return. And so it's just super cute. And you have this cat in most of the pictures, and that's just an added bonus, but it's a really sweet and precious story. So I highly recommend this one too, and also watch the short. You can find it, I think you can still find it on YouTube. I will try to link that for you if I remember. Segueing into tarot, I finished the Deviant Moon Tarot book by Patrick Valenza. And I actually also worked with the deck as I was going through this book. And I don't have the deck right now because I left it in purgatory. I really love this book. I'm keeping the book. And I figure if ever I feel called to work with the deck, well, I can just work with the book and do some bibliomancy. This book, I was really engaged by Patrick Valenza's little stories, the genesis behind the cards, and and his personal interpretations of each of the meanings for the 78 cards. And it did give me more insight to the citizens of Deviant Moon. And so for that, I really appreciated this book. And for anyone wanting to further explore that tarot deck, I highly recommend this. I think this brought a level of, or rather it deepened my level of understanding, and it helped me to have a clear idea of the intention behind the Deviant Moon Tarot and his choice in art, and how the deck came to be what it came to be. So it's interesting, like I really enjoyed the book, but even working with the deck, it was still like, it was okay. It didn't really, despite having this newfound knowledge and a deeper exploration, I still felt lukewarm toward the deck. It just was, yeah, I don't know. And I feel like to have such a tepid feeling about a deck while working with it, even despite this awesome resource, I think that says something. So I'm just placing the deck in purgatory, and I'm just going to give it some time to see if I feel called to reach for that deck again, but I highly doubt it, and I'm happy to have the book. I feel like that suffices because, you know, you have all of the deck images in this book. Huge images, and then beautiful works of art and sketches and different snapshots of the various landscapes he used that inspired him. So I think I can get my dose of Deviant Moon if I really want it from this book. I also have finished my kind of round one study of the Spirit Keepers Tarot Revelation Edition. So all of you, I'm sure, or most of you, have caught wind of this deck, have seen it around. And I said in a previous video that my intention was to go through the deck, get to know some of the, or many of the revised images for this edition, and the inspiration behind the cards. And so what I did was I would do a pool. And in retrospect, I probably would have gone in order, but I would pull from this deck. I would look at the card and look at the details and make note of the details that popped out at me and that called to me. And then I went ahead and made notes in this notebook. And so what I would do is I would first take what I felt I wanted to take from the little white book, and then I went on to look at the book of maps and the entry for that card, and again, kind of just read through and make note of the details that corresponded with the symbols and the various pieces of the image that called to me. So this first round of study was not about trying to capture everything, because I think this is a deck that I will be building on. So I'm sure that as I continue working with the cards, there will be more things that call to me and grab my attention. And when that is the case, then I can always go back and make notes. So, and I wasn't about writing too much, you know. I tried to keep it on the shorter side because there is a lot of information from the Book of Maps, and it would take me quite a while to go through all of that. So I feel like this way it's manageable. I feel like I've really connected with the deck. And yeah, I've written notes on all 78 cards. And then, like I said, I wish I would have gone in order because I kind of see this as my own little guidebook as well. My kind of little, I don't know, cliff notes, if you will, that I will continue to add to. So yeah, I just made a quick index, and you know, if I want to make additional notes, which I'm sure I will, I have room on the other side to do that. Another book that I have been working on and continue to work on is the Marseille Tarot by Ben-Dov, Marseille Tarot Revealed by Joav Ben-Dov. And I've mentioned in a previous video that one of my Reset 2022 goals is to practice more with the traditional Marseille meanings. And so I was using, or am using, the Tarot Sirene. And it was at first, you know, even though this is not, once again, I know this is not traditional Marseille, but it is Marseille inspired. You know, and this is what this deck looks like by the Wandering Oracle, I believe. And again, I don't know what it is about the traditional Marseille imagery, you know, like this. It's kind of, I don't know, it's sensory overload. It's like glyphs that I can't decipher. So I took a cue from Maria over at Lady Knight of Avalon. She, in one of her videos, was showing her haunted house deck that she wrote keywords on to use as kind of like an all-purpose deck. You know, she uses it for readings, and then it's also like her own little tarot journal, and she takes it with her everywhere. And should she come across a new description for a card or a new keyword, she can just jot that down on her haunted house tarot. And so I've only ever done keywords on a Lenormand deck when I was first learning, but I never thought to do it on a tarot deck. Don't know why. I've seen other people do it, like say with the Wild Unknown. Yeah, the Wild Unknown. I've seen people like Nina from Shuffle Tarot and others write on that deck. So I decided to go ahead and do that with this deck. So I've started putting in keywords. And I love it. I love it. You know, it's not pristine, it's not neat, but this makes it mine. I am not only more easily bonding with this deck, but also it just really helps me kind of get into the frame of mind of traditional Marseille when I write things down, which is why I was taking notes for the spirit keepers, which is why I find that it is in fact helpful for me to write down the keywords on these cards. So, and I think that this will ultimately be I think it will expedite my goal of feeling a little more comfortable with the kind of traditional Marseille style of reading. So, yeah, I'm having more fun with this now that I've been doing that. Another deck that I have been working with is my very own Notorious JBG Tarot. And this is a deck that I created from public domain images from Jasmine Beckett Griffith. I do have a flip through on my channel if you're interested. This is available on MPC if you're wanting to purchase, but I am just so happy that I finally have a JBG deck that works for me, because it's been a long and sometimes frustrating hunt. So I am over the moon in how this turned out. And I can, even though it's like this little bridge size deck, I can still riffle shuffle and bridge. And my small T-Rex hands do not have a problem with this deck. So I am just so happy. So, and Mixtress Ray, she was also fabulous in providing feedback and further inspiration. She also has a flip through if you want to check out that on her channel as well. And then finally, right now, the deck that I am working with, and I've started just this week, is my Everyday Witch. I've missed her. Really have. I just think it's so funny how much this deck is just not my aesthetic, you know? And yet I love it so dearly. So it just goes to show you that you never know. A deck could be so beautiful and totally your cup of tea in terms of art style, but it could read like shit. And then like a deck like this, where I initially just talked shit about it, is one that really holds a dear place in my heart. So I'm happy to be working with her again. Okay, what else did I want to talk about here? Okay, so in terms of other YouTube happenings, we, the Three Girls Posse, we did our very first Raven's Prophecy video. So it's the first of 4 installments. It's a recorded video. There are spoilers, but this is the series that we promised everyone, where we talk about the books and relate that to the Raven's Prophecy Tarot. So the books, the Raven Cycle series, both by the same author creator, Maggie Stiefvater. So that was a fabulous time. I also recently was on Angie's channel, Tiny Trinkets and Tarot, for her Creative Connection series. Can you tell it's been a while since I've done this? And that was a fabulous time as well. I really appreciate that she is creating content like this and having people on to talk about creating, talk about making things, you know, and talk about just the enjoyment and the mental and emotional nourishment that we all get from creating in some capacity. So thank you, Ange, for the opportunity. And, you know, for those of you out there who think that you are not talented and that you aren't a creator of anything, that is just so untrue. You know, for those of you who think that you don't have a creative bone in your body, well, if you're using the tarot or oracle, that right there is creative work, in my mind, in my opinion. I think it is. You're creating your own mindscape, or you're developing different facets of a mindscape with the tarot and the oracle. You are creating your own spiritual practice. When you create your own sacred space or your altar, that's creative. That's creativity. So it's there and you have it. Just so you know. I also, just this past weekend, had a casual convo with Heather And you can find that on the channel as well. It was so much fun chatting with her. She's always a good time. She has no problem saying what's on her mind, and love her, love her. Thank you all for coming to that talk. It was a lot of fun, and I have a few more lined up, so just have to get the schedule all figured out. Okay, and then let's see here. Finally, on to some things that I've watched. I've finished season 3 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And I'm looking forward to season 4. I hear that there are some very interesting progressions in season 4, especially with Faith and Buffy's relationship. So I'm looking forward to that. I also, this weekend, went to see The Batman, and it was long. It was too long. Too long. My ass was numb by the time I left that theater. I actually really enjoyed Robert Pattinson's performance. I think that all the actors really did a great job. I loved them all. I think the plot could have been shortened by ideally an hour, fine if need be a half hour, make it 2.5 hours, but 3, I mean, that was too long. I enjoyed the movie, actually. I did enjoy the movie. If I could go back, like if it were the choice of the movie being available on like HBO Max or for streaming, I would have done that. And that way I could give myself a little break, go make some tea or something. I don't know. It's a very emo version. You're getting an emo take on the Batman story. And I wasn't mad at it at all. I actually enjoyed it. But, Batman is one of my main dudes since I was a kid. So I will always love the Batman. I think that's it. So I will be back with the Three Girls Posse on March 19th for another live episode. And then also, I hope to record a bit of an update on my Reset 2022 intentions and how that has been going. So I hope that you all are doing well. And until the next time, much love and take care.